morning. This is Scott Cullen, editor-in-chief of the Cannata Report. It's time for Fridays with Frank, and joining me this morning, as he does every Friday, is Frank Cannata. How's it going, Frank?
I'm doing great, Scott. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. Looking forward to the weekend. And I wanted to talk to you about Livewire. That was a publication that goes back many years, and I think some of your longtime subscribers are familiar with Livewire. So why don't you kind of set the stage by explaining what Livewire was, and then you have some interesting findings or interesting sharings from a 1999 copy of it.
Thank you, Scott. I think one of the most fun I had in the early days was developing Livewire, because as you recall, and you certainly were in the business then, facsimile started to become a serious product in the mid-80s, 85, 86, 87. And you looked at the development, and what I saw, well, particularly when they started, the group 3 machines had a capability to do a group send. You could put one fax in and send it to up to 300 or 400 people. And I said, what a wonderful vehicle to put out blurbs of some kind or another. It might even be to put out a newsletter, but I was already doing the report. So I thought long and hard about it, and I said, well, you know, there's things that come along right after we published and printed and delivered an issue that are, let's call it breaking news. So we can use, I didn't use the term breaking news, by the way, but use information that came in that we thought our readers would appreciate, in getting it hot, getting it as soon as we were able to deliver it. Typically, it was, I have a copy of a December 1999 issue. This is typically what it was, 2 pages. And we just covered events that we thought were important. In this particular issue, it was interesting to me about the concern with leasing companies and dealers. I'm proud of myself the way I wrote, so allow me to read it. For those of you not familiar with the phrase, it's a line from the Music Man, and that's "Trouble Brewing in River City" is the way I headlined it. It means bad things are going to happen unless we do something. And we went on to talk about receiving an email from a dealer, Paul Schulman, about trading up and trading out. And I quoted Paul as saying, I thought you might be interested in some leasing company tactics that are recently cropping up. I know that you're aware of the process whereby a dealer gives its customers to a leasing company, et cetera, but a greater understanding that the customer was brought to the leasing company by the dealer. There's an unwritten holiness to this relationship. Lately, Tokai, which used to be active as a leasing company, Delaga Land in Great America, Cannata Financial Services, and CIT, and even hints by GE of the world state that the rules of the game are changing. One of the biggest obstacles we're facing is that the leasing companies are realizing that the back end or residual values that have been placed on the machines might have been too aggressive, too high, and they want to make some changes midstream. And they want to explain they're asking to make all the remaining payments when they trade one of these machines out, because typically what a dealer would do, not only for a competitive machine, but of his own, if a great new model came out, let's say that in those days it would have been speed and additional functionality. In this case, internet enabled was a big thing, and an opportunity to really start moving a machine at a very attractive price by trading out an existing customer's leased machine. Leasing companies were demanding that all the payments be made. and that, and so forth. So it goes back to fundamentally, why would leasing companies do this? Well, the truth of the matter is, in fairness to the leasing companies, this is what the dealers asked for. They wanted their myth protected. I said, if a competitor comes in, and not about a dealer upgrading his own myth, if a competitor comes in to knock out one of mine, make sure they honor the whole lease. And they insisted on it. And obviously, the dealers felt, the leasing companies felt that they had to comply. But it got ugly. It really, really got ugly. It was about this time Tom Johnson was building Global, and it started 1993, I think it was. So this is 99, 2000. Tom reached out to me about this time. I was looking for our exchange of not emails, but of faxes about it. Any rate, and I wrote about the problem that Global was have in acquiring new dealers. And the problem was very simple. Tom would go in, do the bid, and due diligence, and say, you got a great business. We agree on the price. And then he'd have to take a look at who the leasing provider was. Now, if it was somebody that he did not have a relationship with, and at that point, he probably had relationships with at least 3 very viable leasing partners, he would have to get the leasing company to trade out that entire myth. Otherwise, it didn't make any sense. And that became a bloody battle. And he took, Tom said, in the end, what is it doing? It's decreasing the value of the dealership. The dealer in the end is going to get shortchanged. If we have to go through all this added expense to do the trade outs on the myth because of the leasing company, that may be even an impediment to sale. I think what the leasing companies are doing is totally wrong. I printed that, and as the leasing company that was giving Tom a hard time in this particular case was DLL. They took umbrage with my writing that. I said, look, guys, this is what they said. And to me, from my opinion, his complaint was legitimate. But in all fairness to DLL at that time, I should have gone a little deeper and said, well, if the dealer did that, what are you complaining about? Or your dealer asked for that. But on the buyout, it was a little bit different story. So went back and forth, and the next thing I know, I get threatened with a lawsuit. And I said, okay, I don't have much, come and get me. I took the trouble of going down to Philadelphia. They were in one of the suburbs, not actually in Philly. And I don't recall where their office was. It may still be there. I don't know. And I listened to them, and we debated trading up, trading out. And I said, look, that's your opinion. I mean, not your position. I have my opinion, and I'm going to exercise it. So they started getting nasty, and I mentioned it to one of my dealer friends. They didn't say anything to me at the time. The next thing I know, I would say maybe a week or two after I had mentioned it to one of the dealers, I got a call from DLL saying, let's bury that. It's, you've really got nothing to do with this. There's no reason for us to be at odds over it. And I said, good, I'm good with that. That's fine. And I then told my dealer friend what happened. He said, yeah. He said, I believe a few dealers called DLL and said, leave Frank alone. He helps us. I said, thank you. And I didn't solicit that. But when I told him, he said, that's not right.